Canada. Oh, sorry.
Frankly, I'd prefer you chanting for me. Happy Wednesday, everyone. Some Democratic donors say that they're reluctant to give money to Biden's presidential library. Great. Now where am I going to masturbate, said one man. President Trump is in the UK where he exchanged gifts with King Charles. Trump received a leather-bound book celebrating the Declaration of Independence, and in return, Trump gave him an updated crown. Tim Walz has announced that he'll seek a third term as Minnesota governor. Afterwards, yeah, I know. Afterwards, you could hear the chants of 4 more years from local arsonists. Yeah. A Nevada state senator who police found passed out at a traffic light was arrested for suspicion of DUI. The cops stopped the Democrat before he did any major damage, like voting. Political. An MSNBC reporter who is considered a disinformation expert claims that no one on the internet is cheering about Charlie Kirk's assassination. Even more, on her dating profile, she describes herself as a 7. I know. Come on, lady. Meanwhile, on CNN, Montel Williams called Charlie Kirk's murder suspect a love-torn child who was in his first relationship. He then described Ted Bundy as a ladies' man with commitment issues. NASA claims its Mars rover has collected samples that show signs of biological activity, but they warn it isn't intelligent life, as some of the microbes were observed watching Fox and Friends. Next week, Kamala Harris will make an appearance on The View, and to prepare, they've already stocked the green room. And finally, prosecutors are seeking the death penalty for Kirk's alleged killer via firing squad. Yeah. You know, they say it's far more humane than the gas chamber, otherwise known as Jerry Nadler's office. Fart him to death. That's what I say. So even after a national tragedy, the media picks up right where they left off. They somehow found empathy for a coward who pulls the trigger on a husband and father from 200 yards away. Let's start with ABC's Matt Gutman. God, I hope he didn't find the killer's text very touching in a way that many of us didn't expect.
It was very touching in a way that I think many of us didn't expect. A very intimate portrait into this relationship between the suspect's roommate and the suspect himself, with him repeatedly calling his roommate who is transitioning, calling him my love, and I want to protect you, my love.
Actually, he never said that, but that's what Gutman claims, forgetting that he's covering a murder, not hosting an episode of The Bachelorette. But he couldn't stop there.
So it was this duality of someone who the attorney said not only jeopardized the life of Charlie Kirk and the crowd, but was doing it in front of children, which is one of the aggravating circumstances of this case. And on the other hand, he was, speaking so lovingly about his partner. So a very interesting and, as Pierre said, riveting press conference.
Dude, you're supposed to be reporting on a press conference, not reviewing a rom-com for Rotten Tomatoes. But I guess when someone kills someone because they disagree with them, it's important to look for their good qualities. True, no one ever talks about how bin Laden banged only the hottest goats. Oh. And you should see the letters Hitler wrote his mom. They had such cute nicknames for each other. But I get it, after smearing him as MAGA didn't work, make the story about star-crossed lovers instead of trans-mad ghouls. Over at CNN, Montel Williams chimed in.
People who are trying to pigeonhole this as a leftist thing and a right thing, and what we're really talking about, hear me because I'm going to throw you when I say this, we're talking about a love-torn child. I don't believe he was motivated politically. I think this was motivated emotionally. I think this was a emotionally stunted person who literally When I say it this way, just hear me, tried to defend his significant other, not trying to defend some ideology.
Oh, so clever, huh? That may be Montel's worst judgment since he dated Kamala Harris. Now, Gutman has apologized, claiming he deeply regrets his words, but one clown went all in on ignoring reality and blames MAGA.
We hit some new lows over the weekend with the MAGA gang desperately trying to characterize this kid who murdered Charlie Kirk as anything other than one of them and doing everything they can to score political points from it.
So MAGA is desperately trying to portray Kirk's killer as not one of them. If that man was any more full of shit, he'd be a colostomy bag. That was 2 days ago, so Kimmel had the chance to walk it back, but he can't. And why is that? Because to admit he was wrong on this calls into question his entire filter for interpreting reality. So it's better to live in denial, knowing the like-minded media won't press you on it. But we will. Hey, Disney shareholders, it may be time to thaw out Walt to put things right. No wonder your 5-year stock price looks like this. Bambi's mom has a brighter future. Then there's Matt Dowd, who got fired for saying Charlie Kirk had it coming. He found a new revenue stream. He's actually selling T-shirts with his quote on it. Who's going to buy that? I mean, besides the entire cast and crew of The View and Jimmy Kimmel. Not me. I have enough women yelling, "Take your shirt off." But this is who they are. They can't even let you have a moment of peace for the guy they murdered. In fact, a poll right after the arrest showed 41% of Dems believe the killer was a Republican, proving it's easy to lie to stupid people. That's how I convinced Don Lemon I'm a Nigerian prince. They literally can't conceive of their own side committing evil even after a murder broadcast live. And remember that old guy they thought had taken the shot? He screamed that he was the shooter to try and let the real one get away. You don't hear about him much, do you? Why is that? Well, after being hauled in, they busted this leftist on child porn charges. But I'm sure the media will find something redeemable about him. Sure, he's a perv, but he's great with pets. So the same media that spent years dehumanizing Trump and his supporters finally find their empathy. Surprise, it's for the shooter, creating a narrative that makes murder feel like heroic, if misguided, activism. Even though most of these people have likely never heard a single word Charlie ever said, it's a false narrative creation, like they did with Charlottesville when they claimed Trump praised Nazis. They knew it wasn't true, but they needed a story to protect their own irrational hatred of Trump, just like they need one now. So they paint Robinson as a tragic anti-hero instead of what he is, a murderous coward. In time, they hope the story will be rewritten. The hero becomes the villain, and the villain the hero. Makes you wonder how many other stories from history may be wrong. You want to bet all of them? Let's welcome tonight's guest. He's known for saying, "Turn your head and cough" in an elevator. Chief Patient Officer at the wellness company, Dr. Drew Pinsky. People say he's successful because he's good looking. They're right. Comedian Jeff Dye. Her wit is so dry it makes fish beg for water. New York Times bestselling author and Fox News contributor Kat Tim. And his groupies backstage are of an advanced age. New York Times bestselling author, comedian, former individual world champion. Drew, you're an internist. You're not a psychiatrist, but you've been around people who are screwed up.
Worked in a psych hospital for 35 years.
Wow, did you?
Yep.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow, that must be fun.
It is good times.
It really is.
You know, I was just thinking about that ABC reporter, speaking of screwed up, and they should have put the lower third there. Murderers are people too.
Yes.
That's Curtis Hawk. Thank you for that. Yeah. But, you know, the reality is this is a mass formation, right? Back to the psychological aspects of this. The Trump derangement itself is a mass hysteria. Mm-hmm. And 20% of the people are completely hypnotized by these things, and they've lost their way. It's so frustrating and confusing. I don't understand why reality doesn't percolate through. It just doesn't.
Don't you think it's because if you admit to something like this, then you have to question everything under, and then you're left with whatever's underneath that, which is like, I'm bad.
Well, but what usually goes is cognitive dissonance that protects them from that. But if it gets all the way through, yes, there's a deflation, but they have to kind of relook at their sense of reality. And hopefully that will happen with some people. I'm seeing evidence of that online a little bit. Some people are coming online rather than dancing on Charlie's grave, which is just unspeakable. The moral, lack of moral sensibility is just wild. But some people are coming in and going, I've had enough. I see it differently now.
Jeff, you know, it is a fact that very, very awful people can have moments of tenderness. Even I sometimes cry. But should the reporter feel that he has to note that, or Montel Williams has to note that? Is that their way of being clever?
I don't know what their goal was, but it wasn't the right week for it.
Yeah.
I'll say that.
Yeah.
I think that we need to have like a conversation about just violence in general. I think if you asked 100, if you showed 100 college kids a video of someone being punched in the face, all 100 would say, oh, that's terrible. And then you say, well, what if I told you that this person right before they were punched said a racial slur? 100 kids will go, well, then that's okay. Or what if I told you right before they were punched, they said something homophobic? Oh, then that's okay. We've lost sight of words and violence. And we're saying to ourselves, like, well, no, but some violence is okay, and some things are okay, and we've really blurred what is okay in those things. I remember when Columbine happened, like, the nation stood still. We were like, man, these like, school shootings, this is terrible. And then after a little while, it just became normal. You just would go, oh, school shootings, that's a thing now. And so you might not have liked this man. He was my friend, but you might not have liked him. But that, and you might think, oh, good, I'll post online that it's good that he died. But what if it's your guy? What if tomorrow Al Sharpton gets shot? What if Kamala Harris? What if Trump gets shot at again? What if Joe Rogan? What if it's me? So you don't want this to become a thing. And I'm sorry I'm not being real funny right now, but it breaks my heart that this is anything we're even debating.
Yeah. Well, it's okay not to be funny during times like these. Just don't make it a habit.
Don't look at my Twitter right now.
Yeah. Kat, you and I were talking about that. I was certain that Kimmel was gonna like correct himself because it's like it was so blatantly wrong what he was saying, and now it looks like I have here in my notes. If you'll just hold on 1 second, the FCC chair Brendan Carr claims they might pursue remedies against Kimmel if ABC doesn't discipline him.
You missed the second part of what I think you were supposed to say there, or should have said there, which is that I said he wouldn't.
Yes.
Which meant that yesterday, which meant that I was right.
Yes.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Hey.
Where are the balloons?
Thank you. But I didn't want to be right because I shouldn't have been right. It's insane for me to have been right. You should have been right. He should have came out and said, because he went so hard saying, how could you look at these people saying that he's this when ha 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 ha, to just act like that never happened. But of course, look, you have that happening, and then you also have the guy on ABC saying that, oh, these were touching. I mean, this stuff is just unbelievable. And just how, okay, I watch a lot of Dateline, as do you.
Yes.
And this was obviously an assassination, so it's very different than a lot of things we see on Dateline. But the one thing where it's the same, about 25% of the cases on Dateline, you get to see text messages between lovers, right? And about 100% of the cases where there's sex involved somewhere in the motive. Nowhere ever in those episodes of Dateline do you hear Keith Morrison be like, oh, it's kind of touching, you know? So yes, people who are evil, people who do evil things, sometimes get horny for people.
Yes.
Like, this is crazy. Or they sometimes are capable of loving the people closest to them in whatever capacity. So you really should, and it's great that he apologized. That's a good thing. He should examine what made him feel differently about this, rather than, I'm sure, the millions of other text messages that were loving that he's seen, I'm sure, throughout his career, evil people send to people that they were having sex with.
Yeah. You know what I also think, though, Tyrus? I do think that there is a desire to stand out. Like Montel.
The hot take.
Yeah, Montel thought he was clever. That guy with the great hair, Gutman, great hair, by the way.
Great hair.
Yeah, and lousy name. Half right. But it was like, hot take. Yeah, I got a hot, this is going to blow people away.
Blow people's mind. It blew my mind that Montel was on a panel.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, that's... Who do we got to talk about this?
Yeah.
Montel Jordan.
It's Montel Williams.
Exactly.
Yes.
That's my point. Exactly. He probably would have answered it better. Look, another thing I have a problem with this is like he didn't read the same text messages that I read.
Yeah.
One person, the murderous bastard assassin, was saying all these things.
Right. Yeah.
The other guy was like, why did you do this?
Exactly.
Right.
What? Why? Now, I get it because I'm used to texting a woman, right? So you get, when you do something you think your woman would appreciate or you'll get why or call me or, oh my, like, I can't believe you did it. It was so wrong, but you did it for love. None of that was coming from the other side.
No.
That was about as a dude text back as you get. What?
Yeah.
Why did you do this? So there was no love there. Maybe in the fantasy of this sicko, there was something there, but the other person clearly, which then deflates their whole argument.
Yeah.
Because he supposedly did it for his trans partner, but the partner was not being a partner. They're like, why did you do it? And it was very monotone. So I can relate to that because last week it was a tough week.
Yeah.
And I decided that I was breaking my diet and I wanted to get a banana split.
Oh, yeah.
So I went down across the street and I got a banana split and I texted my wife and I said I was having a bad day and I had a banana split. And she went, no, I can't believe you did this without me. This is ridiculous. And I'm like, you don't eat dairy.
Yeah. That should be on a shirt. You don't eat dairy.
But she still yelled at me anyways because I went there because her feelings were involved.
Yes. Yeah.
The person on the other side had no feelings
like, what are
at
you
all.
doing?
That's what I saw.
If anything, was disgusted and was trying to get off the phone with him as fast as they could.
And the perpetrator was expressing such cold-bloodedness.
Mm-hmm.
They're looking so hard for some sort of positive in that texting. They're missing the fact that he was worried about where he put the gun.
His grandfather's.
It's cold-blooded, no concern for what he had just done. And then you're seeing the partner going like,
Hey,
well,
I don't think it was a partner.
Or-
I think he might have had delusions of fantasy and grandeur, which is clear. And the other person was like, whoa, no, I don't want any part of this. That's what I got from it. So I didn't see any connect of touching or heartfelt anything. I just saw a sicko sending texts.
Yeah, but again, to the media, they're going to create some story so they can sell it to Netflix.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.